Sit down, Marcia. You don't have to run. It should be 5 o'clock. It's like, okay. Welcome to the Historic Preservation and Architectural Review Board of the Village of Cooperstown. We're going to call the meeting to order at 5 o'clock on the dot. And the first item on the agenda is a public hearing regarding 41 Nelson, application to replace the deck and the sleeping porch and to add mudroom and deck extension, which involves a partial demolition, correct, Chris? So yes. That is why we're opening the public hearing. Is anybody here to speak regarding the partial demolition related to 41 Nelson? Chris, were there any items other than the letter that was submitted and is in the Historic Preservation Board's package? Nothing else?
Just the one letter.
Okay. We're going to leave the public hearing open for a little while, and that way, if anybody does come in to speak to it, we'll still have the public hearing open.
And I am here if you have any questions.
Okay. Okay.
I am representing the owner.
Great. Thank you very much. Actually, yeah, we'll wait when we close the public hearing. We'll do that. So we'll go through a few more items first. We're going to move on to the regular agenda, 22 Beaver Street. Would you like to come and sit and speak to us about your project? We're trying something new.
I like it.
Relax.
Thank you. The coffee?
we're thinking of cocktails.
Oh, there you go. I wanted to say that.
Anyhow, would you like to tell us about your project, Connor?
Yeah, do people have copies of the little design and drawing that I made up?
We did receive copies, yes.
So a couple of years ago, we replaced our garage, and to the side of the garage now there's like a nice stone patio area that we're hoping to put like a temporary pergola or something of that type, so that we could get a bit more shade and somewhere to enjoy the summers for as short as they are.
Okay. So you outline the materials.
Yeah.
You're talking about using locally sourced wood, and it's a pergola, so not a full roof, just kind of.
Yeah, so it's not going to be like a flat pack. We want to be something that we construct ourselves and we make it kind of custom and neat.
Tell me about the foundation. Are you setting it on the ground, on the stone patio?
We're just going to set it on the ground, yeah.
Okay, okay, so you're not going to sink any footers or anything. And Chris, the application mentions some tree removal or plant removal? Tree removal of 4 cedar trees. Does that need to be dealt with by the tree committee? Or has it been dealt with?
Actually, we haven't really talked about that yet. But there are 4 cedar trees.
Yeah.
So you're removing. I mean, the homeowner is allowed to remove up to 30% of trees over 6-inch diameter every 10 years. Mm-hmm. So I guess the first question is, have you been removing other trees this decade?
Less than 6 inches. We took an apple tree down, and one of the cedars that was next to it, they would have been in the foot of the garage.
Those we don't really mention. That's the other question. Are these cedar trees?
They're larger than 6 inches. Yeah.
Okay.
We would be replacing them though, for probably something more of a hedge that get more privacy and that was resistant to deer.
Right.
Because the deer have destroyed these cedars. They're kind of leaning towards my neighbors, towards my garage.
Right. That's the other question is if the formula of percentage per year counts. We're talking about healthy trees, but if they are dangerous or drooping, then we have no problem with getting rid of those.
So I guess that's, whatever we motion to do regarding the pergola will be contingent, the request for the trees will be based on Chris and the tree committee's assessment. So I asked that because it was part of the application.
Yeah.
So, Dave Sturgetz, do you have any questions?
Nothing else.
Okay. Pat, do you have any questions? Okay, would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll start off. Moving that H Power provide a certificate of appropriateness for the project at 22 Beaver Street under criteria 2A, 2C, 3A, B, and C.
Thank you. Pat?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Suspense.
We're spreading ourselves pretty thin tonight, sorry. Okay, Liz votes yes.
David, yes.
Awesome, thank you. Thanks, Connor.
Thank you very much, guys. Can I get your contact details?
Yeah, I've got your information on the application.
Feel free to reach out and come and see the trees.
Email
Thank you very
you.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Take care.
We'll continue to leave the public hearing open for another item or two. Hedrick, would you like to come talk to us about 15 Chestnut Street?
I would love to, thank you for your time this evening. So, we are replacing the heating and cooling system in the basement level of 15 Chestnut, which had been the Cooper Room until a couple of years ago. The electric heat pump AC system requires outdoor units, and so this application is for these larger units. We've situated them in a swale that goes to the sub-basement doors, and so from that location, so far as I can tell, you actually won't be able to see these from Lake Street. You certainly won't be able to see them from Chestnut Street or from Main Street because of other buildings in the way. And they'll sit, each of the two units will sit on a concrete slab that's approximately 56 inches by 75.
And what's the height of the units again?
I'm sorry.
I know, it's, I can look too, I just didn't know if you knew it off the top of your head.
No, I would guess. In the
66?
66, yep.
And 3/4.
Yes.
Okay, right. I don't have any specific questions. It sounds like you are doing your due diligence and trying to situate them as unobtrusively as possible, and flood the energy efficiency of the project. Dave Sturgetz, questions?
Nothing else.
Pat Yankee, questions? Okay. Would you like to take a turn?
Whereas the Historic Preservation and Architectural Review Board has made the following findings concerning proposed application at 15 Chestnut. Criteria would include 2A, B, would it be 3D when it's not actually visible?
I think so.
Yeah, very
Okay,
conspicuous. And 5.
And 5.
Yeah, perfect. Okay,
Second.
thank you. Dave, no discussion, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Thank you,
Love the
Patrick.
chairs.
We're trying something new. Okay. 14 Delaware. Sheila, would you like to come talk to us about your project? How are you?
Hi there. Hopefully this will be simple. Do you have copies of anything?
We do, we
Okay.
all got them digitally, and we do have them as well, so
If
thank
you
you.
do need, I have some additional information from the builder, just more specs, if you wanted to take a look. This is going to be an extra room off the back of my house, specifically off the den. I'm trying to keep my husband out of a nursing home, and that's the bottom line. I have more than enough bedrooms, I don't need one, but he's been chronically ill for many, many years. Should he have the need for an aide to be there much more often than it has been in the past, I want a place for him to be able to be with her, or him. And it will not be intrusive to the rest of the household. I don't want them in my bedroom, I don't want them in my den, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just a space. The room, as you can see, is, call it three-sided if you will, because the opening to my den is going to be French doors. And then there will be three windows on the very end, which already technically exist on the back of the house, so there won't be a change there. Minimal change, minimal change. 1 story, 4-foot foundation with a frost wall. And
So it's gonna be unfinished concrete? This-
for all purposes, yes.
Concrete wall, plastic with sand, that's the spec for the
Yeah.
foundation that
Yeah.
you just gave us?
That's what he wrote. That's from Dave Tillapa and John Phillips. The two of them will be doing it, and you know, they're well recognized in the area, so.
Siding,
It'll match the rest of the house. Everything will be the same. As a matter of fact, if you were to look and look at the picture of the house, it'll just be another step down.
right,
Aesthetically, it will look as it should. Nothing is going to be sticking out. There's nothing worse than a thing on the end of someone's house. No, I don't like that. It has to flow.
and then the windows, do you know what product you're planning on using for the windows?
I'm leaving that up to them. It's kind of up in the air. But again, Dave and John do so much work in the village. They know what.
I understand. When you do have some specs for the windows, can you come back for a field change so we can?
I could do that, sure.
Can do that before they get ordered and installed, so once they've narrowed down what they want for the windows.
Okay.
Ideally for the next meeting, since time, or, you know, I don't know what your building time.
Well, the
frame
thing is, I have to go with them.
Right,
You know, I don't think this is.
so make sure you give it plenty of time, so you have time for meetings, so.
Right.
They do work in the village, so they know the rules, so we need to kind of just know what you're proposing for the windows and.
One of the things I can say is that was an addition, so there were no wooden windows in the whole back of
I
the house.
understand, I'm not questioning that,
Okay,
it's just,
okay,
it's just part of the review process.
sure.
So, just when they've narrowed in on that, please bring us that information, submit it to Chris before the meeting, and then we can review it at that meeting and do the field change.
Okay.
Okay. Dave, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just, you know, from the drawing that we saw, it looks like the door to the deck and the stairs to the deck.
Which one now?
This,
We're on-
not the new,
This
but,
one,
yeah.
okay. Going out that door, that is all one level, there are no steps there. I mean, I have steps.
There's steps in the picture.
Which part? That won't be there.
Right, yeah, so the question is whether
Yeah, no,
there are
that-
gonna be new
that-
steps and a new door to the deck.
Or is the deck gonna vanish completely?
No, it will remain, it'll be the half deck that will remain.
See here, it's,
See this section,
see where it says, you know, new wall, so the question
Well-
is, so this door and those
Actually-
steps, it looks like the new addition will,
go past that. No,
Yeah.
actually what's happening is there's going to be an overhang, so the wall actually is going to be here and it'll come up. This will be gone. This will be gone.
okay, so the wall is actually here,
Right.
okay.
And then the overhang, if you will be, hang on. That,
Okay. got it.
that, you see,
Yep,
and what
and
they
there it
decided
is,
to.
yeah.
Yes, and what they decided to do was, it actually gives me the 16 feet. If they had gone right to there, it would have been shorter.
Uh-huh,
So that will just kind of be an overhang.
okay,
And again, it will blend in. with
sure,
that.
yeah, no problem. with
So is
Just
that a
wondering.
drawing you are just showing us tonight? The drawing you just showed Dave?
This, yeah, I haven't seen this before.
Oh, okay, there you go. I thought that was in with this.
So-
Yeah, that was part of that.
So is a new door going on?
The door stays
exterior?
right where it is.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see. So Pat, it jogs out. That's the door that you're seeing.
And that's covered by the roof.
It's basically this door. He was concerned the walls on this side
This goes into
into the home.
your,
Yeah. Basically, the new roof is here.
Thanks for clarifying that.
When you put it together, it's clearer, I believe.
Dave, do you have any other questions?
No, and getting the specs for the window, window and exit.
Pat, do you have any questions?
oh,
Okay.
straightforward.
If it's an odd number, it must be.
Yeah,
a
yeah, so
motion.
my turn, yeah. So move the HR provide certificate of appropriateness for the project at 14 Delaware Street under criteria 2B, 2C, and 3A, B, and C.
Great, and we might also add 5 to that for
5 for the
ADA
windows?
related, well, for ADA related
Yeah. Right.
accessibility.
Mhm.
Okay,
May I
so,
second?
would you like, that would be great. Thank you. Any discussion? Liz votes yes.
David, yes.
Scott, yes.
Fantastic, thank you. The only other question I have, Chris, which is not related to our decision, is are there any issues with setbacks, or are we all okay with that?
The setbacks are clearly marked on the original application. You can
Okay.
see. So, yeah.
Great, I just wanted to articulate that. Okay, great, thank you very
Good.
much.
You're great.
Okay, may I get those back, please? If you don't need them,
Do we have this in?
I can,
Sort of copies of them or?
And then the other one that went around
there
was,
were 3 of them.
so 1, 2, 3. There was one that said concrete on it, too.
Fourth one.
Yeah, I think there was a 4th one, unless you grabbed one of them, Sheila.
No?
It was another picture related to,
Oh, this one,
yeah, okay.
That's
So,
take all of them.
Yeah.
so we just, if they're additional, we can add them to the file, thank you.
Okay.
Do you want this file back now so you can put it together?
Sure.
Okay.
Chris, if you want, I'll get them tomorrow.
Okay, do you have digital copies of these in email?
We can wait.
I'll call you.
Keep everybody moving.
Okay,
Good idea.
thank you
All
very
right?
much.
Thanks.
Thank you
Awesome.
very much.
Okay, we're gonna do one more application, and then we'll return to the public hearing. So 20 Nelson, Penny, would you like to come and tell us about your project?
Yes, and I'm bringing Tony with me because I'm and Jane as advisors. So they kind of got me started along in how to do this. So I'll let Tony start.
Tony and Jane Gentile,
Okay,
and one of my friends and old colleague. So Penny called me to, as former building inspector, to come take a look at her carriage barn because it was falling down. I got there and looked, and there's holes in the roof, the foundation is falling apart, the floors, the walls. It's unfortunately an 1880s barn that is showing its age very, very poorly. We even were able to get a couple of contractors to take a look and give us very rough estimates, and it would be, because of the state they're in, it would cost a lot of money to fix them back up again. So we talked about it, and Penny, if she could, would like to renovate it, but as I say, money-wise, we're talking $50,000 just to keep it standing by one guy's estimate. So we said, the process is coming here and asking you if she could demolish it, and then maybe in the future, come back with plans for a smaller garage.
So I don't know, because you and Jane know the process, whether you explain to Penny or Penny, whether you know, what we'll do now is set a public hearing at the next Historic Preservation Board meeting, just like the public hearing we're just about to have now. This application came before us last month. So it gives neighbors and anybody else time to weigh in. Chris sends notices and it's noticed in the paper. And so we have a formal public hearing per the law. And then if you are thinking of doing something sooner, you can begin to present plans. If not, when you do have a plan, then you would come to us with an application for a new structure. Okay, so do we have a motion to set a public hearing?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. Do you, either of you have questions
What?
that you'd like to ask them now, or?
No.
Okay,
My
okay,
questions are larger than I can ask them.
right, okay.
It's general.
Okay. All right, so we will set a public hearing for the next meeting in July, and I think that's July 11th, and we'll move from there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. We will return to the public hearing that we opened at the beginning of the meeting for 41 Nelson. And has anybody else come regarding 41 Nelson to speak to the proposed demolition of a portion of the rear of the building to replace a deck and a sleeping porch? Okay, nobody's here regarding the proposed demolition. Ariel, would you like to come have a seat? And if that way, if Dave or have any questions? Do you have any questions regarding the structure before we vote on the proposed demolition, either of you?
No.
Okay, it is something we reviewed at the last meeting. And Ariel, have the, and these are two separate issues, but is there progress with the plans, or are we right now looking just at the demolition?
We are looking at the demolition. I also emailed an updated copy. They made a couple changes per your request with the roof line, over two of the doors, and we also looked at the lattice and the railing as you guys asked. So you should have a copy, but if not, I did bring one more.
You know what, Chris, do you have that copy? Because I'm not seeing it in this
I don't
file.
have the copy here, sorry.
That's okay. So if you can pass that around while we do the demolition, then everybody can take a look at that as well.
The floor plan is the same as you'll see over the roof. They changed it to a little gable because you guys had commented that the shed roof didn't feel like it fit.
Do I recall there were 3 different roof pitches? All facing the same direction?
It was,
So we have the sleeping porch gable, which matches what's there now. We had the shed style that matches what's over the kitchen. And then there was like a very small bracketed shed over the door to protect the door. And you guys had advised that we change that to something that you thought would be a bit more fitting. So you'll see they added a little gable over those doors. They thought that you might find that more fitting, and it will still achieve their goal of protecting those doors.
do you have that file?
I see it exists, but I didn't get it in time, so.
Okay.
Are you guys happy with the result?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it fits.
What do you think, Pat?
Well, I think it's an improvement.
Did you want to say okay?
And when it was critical, I mean, I'm hesitant to lose sleeping porches anywhere.
But we're not losing it. We're rebuilding it exactly as it is.
In other words, from the street, it'll essentially look like the street sleeping porch.
There's nothing visible from the street that you can see at all. This is completely in the backyard. And the sleeping porch that is there now is being rebuilt to the exact specifications, same size, same roof pitch, same window openings. It's just so rotten that it can't be saved. But they are completely replacing it as is. Same beadboard, same everything.
Okay. Once everybody has a chance to look at that drawing, we'll deal with the demolition, and then we can deal with the design. Okay. Any other questions, Pat? Okay. It is an improvement. Thank you. Dave, do you have any questions?
No, I think it's responsive.
Okay. Does anybody first want to make a motion regarding the proposed demolition?
Whose turn is it?
It's Pat's.
What?
Would you like to make a motion regarding the proposed demolition?
No, actually, I wouldn't. Where's the, when we do a demolition, what are the criteria?
Good question. Because we do so few of them.
This will be my first demolition.
I'm not sure. Marcia, can you think of what we? Just a demolition with no criteria?
4D seems to me to be one.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at that one too.
Three B? Change the scale?
Yeah, I think we can, that's a justifiable criteria.
Is that enough?
Yeah.
Whereas historic preservation architectural review or make the following findings concerning the proposed application and
41 Nelson.
41 Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
It said 3B and 4D. Maybe 4E. Doesn't apply to the building, but it certainly changes the nature of the site.
Yeah. I think that's fair to put it in.
All right, I'll second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Liz votes yes. Would you like to vote?
Would I like to vote? Yes.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so now on to the proposed addition to replace demolished deck and sleeping porch. Ariel, you've explained the changes that were made. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about what's being planned that we didn't discuss at the last meeting?
No, I think we discussed it pretty full at the last meeting. You were concerned about that roof line, which I think they've made an effort to change, as well as clarification on the lattice, which I've noted, and the railing, which I've noted.
Thank you for working with the homeowners on the concerns of the board. Dave, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Pat, do you have any questions?
Is there any input from neighbors?
There was an input from one neighbor who was very positive, had full confidence in the workers and the owner. So it's good.
Okay. Dave, if there are no other questions, would you like to make a motion?
Sure.
Unless you have more
I,
questions.
do I recall that there's a small window in the, that's put in? No, I guess not. That's good.
Could have been another application,
Yeah.
something similar.
Did Dave already?
No,
Okay.
yeah, did you make a motion?
Not yet.
It's gonna be a long night.
Yeah.
You may.
Ready? All right. Move that H Park provide a certificate of appropriateness for the project at 41 Nelson Avenue under criteria 2B, 2C, 3A, 3C, and 5.
Sounds good.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
No.
Liz votes yes.
David, yes.
Pat, yes.
Thank you. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you so much for your time.
Okay, Miss 184 Main, Dr. Russ?
So this is actually a project you guys have reviewed and approved previously. So we opened the permit and never actually started work. And so for the county to renew the permit, they would just like the assent of the board. There's no field changes.
To extend the permit.
Correct. No changes to the application as approved.
I don't have any problems with that. Do we need to review the application at all, or is everybody comfortable? We reviewed it pretty extensively, I remember, the window choices, things like that. So are people comfortable renewing, or do you need a refresher on the file?
It was before my time.
Right.
I'm comfortable.
Okay. Pat, are you comfortable with the renewal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you like to motion to renew the permit at 184 Main Street?
Does it fit in this category? We're just extending?
We're just renewing it. We don't need to.
So we just have to approve the extension?
Yeah, we don't need to go through the full,
Whereas the Historic Preservation Architectural Review Board has made the following findings, the proposed application at 184 Main will be extended. Do we have any time constraints?
it's usually a 2-year.
2 years.
So we'll renew it for 2 years. Does that give you the time you think
That
you need?
certainly should, yes.
If not, we see other people
See you again.
regularly for
Very good.
renewals. So hopefully you'll be able to get your project done.
So second?
Thank you.
Pat, yes.
Liz, yes?
David, yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. 89 Beaver, John, would you like to come talk to us about your renewal? Wait, you need a punch card on this one, don't you?
Yes.
How many renewals is this?
I think 1, 2, it's maybe the third, no, the second, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just those 3 downstairs windows, 3 with 1 window.
Still maintaining the same windows, et cetera, just, okay.
They're exactly the same as the other ones on the other side.
The plan has not changed, it's just taking a little longer than anticipated.
Yes.
Okay, so.
That's an extension?
It's another renewal, yes, another extension.
So move that H Park provide approval of an extension for the permit for work at 89 Beaver Street for a period of 2 years.
Second?
Thank you, Pat. Liz votes yes.
David, yes.
Pat, yes.
Okay, we'll see you in 2 years.
Next again.
Okay, 50 Lake Street. Wiley, would you like to tell us about your project? Uh-oh. There's a little collusion in the back of the room.
No, I got in front of her. So the bulk of the project, this is 50 Lake Street, is a window replacement. It's a casement window, probably from the late 80s. It is, as you can see from the pictures I provided, in quite bad repair. It leaks a little bit to the inside, and we would like to replace it with a Marvin, which I did provide the specs. It's custom ordered, specifically exactly to the dimensions of the existing window. I'm hoping to not have to replace any siding, just remove the trim. I'm gonna remake the trim because it's also bad. I can't find the pictures in mine.
We've got pictures.
That's the window. I thought I had a close-up one. I know I have one on my phone if I didn't put it in this. Put pictures of everything else.
Yeah, we don't have close-up of the windows.
Okay, well, I can pull that up.
Why, did you know what year that house was built?
I don't know. My family, Build Construction, did a huge renovation on it in the early 90s. So this whole back porch was replaced then, which of course, 40 years later, 30 years later, it's showing some.
Job security for the descendants.
Yeah, well, that's why we would like to replace it with stuff that's not going to rot in the future.
So it's the posts and what else that you're proposing with PVC?
So it's just anything that's the rotten, all the pictures that are rotten. The posts are fine, except for the newel posts on the stairs. And those will be replaced with 6x6s and then wrapped. And then everything else, the bottoms of the columns, just the parts that are rotten will be removed and remade in PVC to match the existing painted. Because this is the north side of the building. It's right next to the lake. It gets hammered by all the wind and the water.
So everything, the plan is everything to match existing?
Yep, absolutely.
Including the moldings on the post?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. Find that picture.
And can you clarify which window it is we're talking about?
It's the 4-bay casement. There's like 4 casement windows on the second story.
I see, okay.
Up the second story. There's a little, I think it's a little shed roof that sticks
Yeah,
out.
a little bump out.
Yeah.
And it's going to be casement, are those simulated divided lights?
Simulated divided lights, yeah.
Dimensional grills, correct, not grills between the glass?
Yep.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Wiley?
I got pictures closer up if you want to see.
And is it a wholesale,
Chairs are dangerous.
Wiley, is it a wholesale
I see the bottom.
replacement or just what's rotting? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Just what's rotting.
Just what's rotting, so
Yeah.
you're just gonna
Yeah,
address
there's some
things.
skirting board that's rotting, the bottoms of like one of the railings, just replace the bottom member of it and keep everything that's in good shape.
Okay.
You want to see the rot?
Sure.
All the casing on the window is also.
I love to look at rotting wood.
So that's that 4-bay casement. You can see the casings are on it and the whole sills around it.
Is that rot there too?
Yeah, that's
So you're gonna end up doing that as well?
Yep, and same thing, PVC, all beaded. It's like a 1/4-inch bead,
5/4 by like 5.
it's a weird size actually.
Dave, do you have any questions?
No, I'm all set.
Pat, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Whose turn is it? Might it be Mr. Yankees? We lost track of it.
There's so many.
Go ahead.
Whereas the HBAR has made the following findings concerning the proposed application of 50 Lake, to include the criteria 2A and B, 3B and C. I think it's
5 for the windows.
5?
For the energy
For windows.
efficiency?
Okay,
Okay,
good point.
okay.
A second.
Thank you, Dave. Ms. votes yes?
Pat, yes.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Wiley, you can just stay there.
Yeah.
Now we'll move on to 160 Main Street.
Yeah, so this one, very similar, but this will be a wholesale replacement because as you can see from the pictures, the railings are just shot. It will, dimensions-wise, stay exactly the same as it is. These were actually not the original railings. They were built when the house was redone in 2004. I already had to repair the front ones, which I did out of wood, because she didn't want to redo the entire run on that side. It was just one section of railing that was bad. I think it was just made out of pine, and 20 years later, that's pine. So the plan is to use the existing posts, which are actually in good shape, wrap them in PVC, and then use PVC composite railings and balusters, so she doesn't ever have to worry about it again.
And everything is paintable?
Yep. Yeah, it'll look exactly. The only real significant change, as you can see, the profiling of the railing is just a 2x4 with a bevel on top, so she'd like a more railing appropriate kind of profile where you can actually get a handhold on for coat lines. But yeah, everything stays the same. The deck is already composite.
Do you have a profile or an image of that?
Well, I don't know, of course, put this giant package here, but.
Okay, it's probably, I didn't bring my computer, so
Yeah.
as long as Chris has it, that's fine. It's more that we have it in the files.
Okay.
So as long as it's been submitted.
I'm sure.
Do you have any questions, Pat?
Yeah, it's the premier one. There's multiple ones in there, so it's.
Now, these are composite or are they?
Yes.
The railings are, yeah, composite.
PVC.
Extruded PVC balusters that I'm gonna make to match the existing ones, because there is still this railing on the house, so she'd like it to match as closely as possible to the existing ones. So the balusters will be matched to what's there now.
Okay, so the balusters are hollow?
No, they're solid,
Hollow.
extruded 1.5 inch PVC.
Okay.
Yeah. They're substantial.
Any other questions, Pat?
No.
Dave?
Nope.
So I move that H Park provide a certificate of appropriateness for the project at 160 Main Street under criteria 2A, 2B, 3A, and 3C.
Okay, Liz votes yes.
Pat, yes.
After you seconded.
Oh,
I need to second it.
thank you.
You're thinking.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts.
You're thinking. And David's yes.
That's, I second.
Thank you. Okay,
Pat, yes.
Liz, yes.
David, fine. Yes, again.
You had lots of votes tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wiley. Okay, 46 Lake Street. Nick here? I thought I saw you. Then somebody sat in front of you. Okay, tell us about the project, Nick.
Okay, so I got just a couple things, field changes that we want to do at 46 Lake. One is the style of fence around the HVAC equipment by the garage. We want to match the type of fence that we have on the side of the property, match the height, match everything. It's just a little different than what we had submitted before, so I wanted to come back. And in addition to the fence, the other thing is the side entry to the house. We want to remove a transom above the door and replace the door with another, it would actually be, if you sort of looked at the before photos and the after photos, we're actually mimicking the style of the old storm door, except we would be building a new door that is the correct thickness and everything.
Do you know the era of the transom you're removing?
Yes, that was done in the 50s.
Okay, I didn't think it was much older than that, but thank you for confirming that. Dave, do you have any questions about the fence around HVAC or the door
No.
change?
Color, existing wood, looks good.
So the materials for the door?
Yes, wood.
Submitted wood,
Yes.
okay. Ed, do you have any questions?
A little concerned about the transom. Does the transom face the street by any chance?
Yes, technically. It's on the side of the house, so it's not very visible, but yes, it does.
It's on the east side, correct? The
Say that again?
east side of the house, the
Yes,
driveway side?
that's correct, the driveway side.
The door, do you have earlier pictures without that transom? Have you seen any of that evidence?
I have not seen any. I could try to see what I can find.
No, I'm just curious whether,
Yeah, no.
whether you have any images. I'm not putting a task on your shoulders as much as asking a question.
It's in the shadows. Even when, from the street, it'd be hard to see.
What'd you say, Dave?
It's, because of the overhang, it's in the shadow, it's actually hard to notice that, in fact, there's a transom.
And Patty did say it was from the 50s, the 1950s, so.
The transom was put in the 50s?
Yes. Yeah, they did a big renovation. The house has been through several very large renovations and additions on the additions.
Well, you can tell. Geez. I guess I don't have any questions then. If it were older than that, I'd squawk a little.
Right, I understand.
Do we know, do you have evidence that it actually was put in, that particular renovation included that transom?
Yeah, that portion of the house, that whole portion was built in the 50s.
Any other questions, Pat?
No.
Dave, you're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas the HPAR has made the following findings concerning the proposed application at 46 Lake. We would apply to A, for sure, and B, (3B), C, and I guess we're getting 5 because of the door.
Makes sense, yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Second.
Thank you. No discussion, Liz, what's yet?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Have a good night, Nick.
You too.
Sarah, would you like to come talk to us about 56 Lake Street?
There should be no rain.
Shortcut.
They have a wooden deck, I'm Sarah. Wooden deck on 56 Lake Street, the manager's home for the Osaga, owned by Leather Stocking Corporation.
wooden deck and railings, not historic to the house, and they're bad. It's just the deck, it's not the structure, nothing, the footprint isn't changing, we're just replacing the decking with composite, very close to the color of the existing deck, and which is painted the color of the house. It's pretty close. And they wanted white, matte white railings. I think probably because from the lakeside, you look at the back of the hotel and that's all treated in white.
Is this paintable?
It comes coated. I'm sure you can sand just about anything and paint it. And the railing that's there is not very attractive. It's this big chunky hexagonal, possibly octagonal post with a big urn on top of it in the back of the house. This is just a little more elegant treatment, I think.
So
The
it's-
posts are 4x4.
Do you have a picture of the current railing that's there, Sarah?
I do, it's on my telly, is that okay?
Yeah. I'm assuming this has not been replaced since Betty Wright lived in this house. It's pretty old.
I remember the house without a deck. I remember walking out onto the backyard from the lower level. Personal experience. Okay. So I'll get you. I'll screen up. Nope. That's the existing decking. There's the existing railing. See, pretty bad house.
Yeah, you'll have to, she likes riding.
I know. Well, that's the. This is the deck itself and the collar.
Yeah.
It's just the one strip, whatever. And there's the hideous railing. It's hideous. How do you feel about it?
Can you be honest with us?
So there's the lovely stairs, and the new stair treatment will have a miter picture frame and then the tread, so there won't be any cut edges on the edges of the stairway. Did you see that?
Does the dimension of the deck change at all?
No.
And does the configuration of the stairs change at all?
No. The lattice stays, fascia frame around the lattice, all that stays, it'll get, sanded and painted, and if there's any rotten wood, I suppose they'll just pull and replace with dimensional lumber or PVC and be done with it.
So those caps are also PVC?
The entire railing is.
Okay, the little square.
Yes, and that drawing, it looks like a 6x6 post is represented there, and they're 4x4. What's going in is 4x4.
Do you have any questions?
No, I don't think I do.
No? Okay. So you remember before there was a deck at all?
I do.
It's not historic to the house then, not part of the Frank Whiting design. Okay. Motion?
I move that H Park provide a certificate of appropriateness for the project at 56 Lake Street under criteria 2A, 2B, 3A, 3C, and 3D.
Second?
Thank you, Pat. Liz votes yes.
Thank you.
Pat, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now you gotta thank him.
Jump the gun.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, 175 Main Street. Did you draw the short straw, Veronica? The short straw? Did everybody else say not it?
I don't have a clue what that means.
It's okay. All right, tell us what, the application is to do.
Yeah, so I just need to replace the landing on the front porch of, the main door at 175. The wood under it is rotten, so it bubble up. It's completely soft. So when I went to Bruce Hall to find the wood that would be matching to it, they suggest me to use this material instead, and I said, I asked that brochure, and they confirmed that this is already being approved historically buildings and is approved in 48 states for this. This material comes already painted, different colors, so I don't have to treat it. And it will be durable. I call it a lot of snow there. That's why it's so soft.
So,
Here are the pictures. I think I added the pictures in the application, but here you have
we'll
it.
pass it
Yeah.
to the sample.
And this is information of the material.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah, we got it.
It's a very small portion. I just need to.
who's gonna, do the work? And is it, otherwise, nothing's changing about the dimensions?
No, nothing is changing. I have a person that might be able to do it because everybody is so busy. And he's in Hungary, and I also contact somebody else, so I don't have a final contractor.
Okay, makes
But there
sense.
is, there's a way to put it together.
Sorry.
They come with a PDF instructions on how to put it together. It's very similar to the originals. It might take me a couple months to do it, depending on how busy they are.
So do you anticipate, because of the buckling, having to do any work with the frame of the substructure of the decking?
There's a stone under.
Okay, so this is laid right over stone, okay.
There's a stone steps that actually holds the building, and that's why the wood was put on top and built it up. Because if you walk through, the building is, how you call it? Crooked,
Very slow.
extremely crooked. Everything
Is there
is.
something wrong with the stone steps?
Yeah, it has a very big stone steps inside, under.
Yeah, right, but I mean,
You cannot see
Stone?
it because it's all covered.
Yeah, aren't you saying underneath the area to repair?
Right.
So Veronica, are the risers, the white
Stone
vertical
foundation.
sections,
What this-
are they
what is this
stone,
thing?
painted stone, or is
No,
that wood?
that's wood. That's
So-
just wood. The stone is under. It's
And-
already cracked to the.
Are the risers going to be,
Painted.
they're just gonna stay?
Nothing isn't changing. The only thing I need to do is get a contractor to do the top of the landing, just the landing, and that's it. The rest it will be, sanded and painted.
Yeah.
So just the top step?
Just the top.
And the other steps aren't gonna be touched at all? then?
Nothing. I don't wanna deal with the whole thing because the stone step is big, massive stone step is already cracked, so we have just the wood on top.
And then, this is, separate from there was an application a few years ago to redo the front.
Yes, and that application have a beautiful front porch, connected, and that COVID happens, and,
Mhm.
we can do
Okay.
that.
Dave, do you
We
have-
did have a permit for that one, but we didn't.
And do you have any questions, Dave?
I do not. Well, this comment that's been approved for historic buildings before, is that from the little blurb on the back there, or is that
It's
a
not,
reference?
we have approved it in some cases, not as a general rule.
Mhm.
I think
But-
that blurb is one of their marketing blurbs. That would be my guess.
Yeah, so I saw it on the back.
Yeah. It is a product we've approved, like Trex and other engineered products
Mhm.
for specific treatments. The way I'm thinking about this is it's reversible because the stone steps are still in place. It's a safety issue.
Yeah.
Veronica, my concern is not with the proposal in terms of what you're proposing. My concern is the other outstanding issues with 175 Main Street and the work that still has to get done that was discussed with the Greens last fall. So I'm not sure, I mean, we can vote on this application, but I'm not sure whether we can issue the permit until we check on.
I was not initially involved in that application.
But you're not the owner, and
I'm not
it's
the
the
owner.
building that.
I'm the office manager.
I know,
I am
I
actually
know.
the manager.
But we're looking at the property and the building and the outstanding kind of work that needs to be addressed. So we can vote. If it's approved, there will be a permit, but it may have to stay in the file until we determine whether the other work has to get resolved.
I think we were able to take everything out that from
Okay,
the side.
we just have to
That's
check,
done.
I just have to check on that to make
Please
sure.
check. There's parts that can't take out because the building doesn't have any insulation. If I take it all down, it's going to be bare. And that's a major problem that I'm getting now because I am the one that actually managed the building. I was doing other things during last summer on my work, therefore I was not involved in this specific project. But now the next step for me, because we already spent the $30,000 that we have to put down, that we don't have the money to put it back.
I understand what you're
So,
saying. We have to look and make sure that.
I just don't want to be able, my fear on the step is if you please go over and touch it, it's soft and it's bubble. So I don't want to have an issue of somebody getting hurt. So and now the door cannot open and close anymore. I have to push it, it's all ripped on the bottom. I'm asking this because I need to solve a minimal problem.
I understand.
I know the rest of the stuff is a bigger issue that I'm not really.
I understand, and we just have to check with the village attorney to make sure that there isn't, we can't do this until something else is done because there's an open item there. But we will check with him.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying
I
that
know.
just in case, even if we vote, we still have to speak to Martin and make sure that can move forward.
I'm concerned about a safety issue confronting
I
political
understand,
issue.
I understand, yeah. Well, the other one isn't political, but let's just make sure that Martin says that it's okay to move forward with this. I agree that it's a safety issue also.
Okay, but I mean, in other words, I don't think we can postpone a safety issue
I agree.
confronted with
I call it a
an
procedural
argument.
issue.
And it's not going to be immediate too, because I can't find contractors that can help me immediately. So I'm still on the works too for that, so I appreciate.
Okay.
So if you can get a quick.
Yes, I think we can
turnaround
talk to
from
Martin within the next day or two. I just wanted to clarify that we had to
Yeah, no,
address the
no.
elephant in the room. So, okay. I'm sorry, I'm losing track. Go ahead. Don't want to deprive you of your turn, Pat.
No, I wouldn't do it. The Preservation Architectural Review Board is following findings concerning the proposed application at 175 Main. And they include 2A, B, 3, A, C, I guess that's it.
A second.
Shall we add 5 in?
And who?
5.
5?
Safety?
Oh, I didn't even see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's right there. I got 5.
I second the
Thank you.
amended
Liz votes yes.
motion. David, yes.
That,
Okay,
Okay, thanks,
so
Veronica.
you will,
We'll double check,
you will be in touch.
and Chris will follow up, okay?
Well,
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, thank you.
Okay, 50 Walnut Street. No? Okay. 12 Linden, Mr. Lifgren? How are you tonight?
Tired.
Summer's getting the best of everybody already. The longest day today,
Yes,
feels that way too.
yes, it's felt that way. I know I have to set up big machinery at work and I should be retired, but I'm the only one that can operate punch presses and stuff, and I've took a die in and out 3 times today, so yes, I'm tired.
Well, we'll get you out of here pretty quickly.
Yeah, this,
So tell us what you would like to do.
well, there was an application over a year ago for repair and demolition and construction, and we couldn't find any contractors, and because of COVID stuff, and everybody says, we might put your name on the list next year. But finally this spring, we were able to talk to a couple contractors, and in the year that we've wasted, the deterioration of the garage is, everybody says it's gotta come down, it can't be repaired. And the cost of repairing it, the estimates that we're getting is out of the question, so we just want to demo it and get it off from there.
And at this point, you don't plan to build anything else,
We have no
correct?
plans to build anything at this point.
Okay. The village law does require a public hearing, so we can set a public hearing for the next meeting. And as long as there are no issues with the public hearing, a permit would be issued after
The
that.
only issue I have is a neighbor says if it falls on my property, you better get it down soon.
Understandable.
We only have the one neighbor, really. The other side of the property is commercial.
So would somebody like to make a motion to set a public hearing for the demolition of the garage at 12 Linden Avenue?
So moved.
H. Martin moves that the garage at 12 Linden Avenue be put to public hearing.
Great. So on July 11th, our next Historic Preservation Board meeting, it'll be at the top of the agenda with the other demolition requests, okay? And we will open the public hearing at the beginning of the meeting. We usually leave it open for a little while and then close it within about 20 minutes or half an hour. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. 60 Susquehanna. Okay, we didn't vote to have the public hearing.
This
Oh.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Good.
yeah, there we go. Thank you. Hi, how are you?
Doing okay, how are you?
Good, good. So, would you like to tell us about your project?
Sure, so I'm the owner of 60 Susquehanna. I moved in a year ago. Been doing a lot of work on the premises, and I got dropped from my home insurance company because of the moss and the overhanging branches, and they demanded that I replace the roof even though there are no leaks. I tried to get an extension with them and they would not allow it. When I moved into this house, I didn't even have a working shower, so other funds had to go into the inside first. I work at the hospital, and I was showering there for the first month. So if it gives you any idea of how much time I've been putting into this. But long story short, I wanted to see if there was any possibility in me putting a metal roof for a few reasons. One, the moss would not grow. It is a flat roof. It's a more federal style roof, so there's parts of it that are flat, and I tend to get a lot of snow that just hangs out on it. It's a very shaded area. I am paying for some trimming of the branches, and upwards about $3,000. He said he did it for the owner before I got it last year. So if we're looking at a cost every year of $3,000-4,000, that can add up over time. I spoke to my neighbors on flanking sides. One has a metal roof on his barn. There was no issue with their concerns.
Was that Mike Swallowing?
On the Will and Sue on the other side, on the 46B, because I'm on the corner.
Right, you're the blue.
The blue with the yellow door, yeah. So I did speak to Mike about it as well, and he didn't oppose at all. He just they told me to talk to you guys. So I definitely, I'm not trying to do anything against the historical society. I just want to make something that's functional and something I don't have to keep repairing or risk losing my health insurance. I've already decided to switch to another insurance company because they wouldn't give me the extension, but they even said, well, you have moss, and what are you going to do about it? And I can't, as a single homeowner, get up there on the roof.
And you haven't been able to find anybody to do moss removal for you?
Well, I could get somebody to do it, but the insurance company said they wanted the entire roof replaced, even though I insisted that there were no damages.
Mm-hmm.
So getting the moss removed, I bought a pressure washer. I was going to have somebody do it, but to keep doing that every few years, I just wanted to see if there was even a possibility I wanted to put just a black metal roof on. If it's not a possibility, then I'll stick with shingles, but it's gonna get replaced either way, just so I don't have to deal with this. It just seems costly.
Have you gotten estimates for both?
For shingles and metal? Yeah, so I put a deposit down with Premier in Sydney, Premier Roofing, and they assured me that it's a 40-year guarantee. The metal roof is going to be between $14,000 and $15,000. It would be upwards of $16,000 if they take the shingles off first, rather than putting the metal right over the top. And then shingles, I got that estimate, and it's about $1,000 less. That's it. So.
We generally look for replacement in kind of materials like roofing materials. Metal roofs do tend to change the appearance of the historic structure. And some roofs have been put up in the past before the historic preservation law was in place. So the Historic Preservation Board exists because Cooperstown is on the State and National Register of Historic Places, and to get a district on a register, the community that it's in has to agree to develop a commission. I'm sorry, I get a cramp in my leg, sorry. Has to agree to establish a commission to enforce a law that protects the materials. And so that's why this law exists. and some of those metal roofs were put on before the Historic Preservation Board was in place. So just to give you some
I've
context.
seen a few throughout, that's why
Yeah,
I was thinking
yeah.
it was a possibility,
Yeah.
but if that makes more sense, why?
So it does change the look of a structure pretty dramatically. You have a home that's on a corner, which means you have two street-facing signs, which means, you know, people could see that from two different perspectives. Pat and Dave, I don't know if you have any questions. I'm just gonna do my little dance to get my legs shook up. Talk.
I do. First of all, I'd like to know who your insurer is.
It was Geico.
Who?
Geico, and I had them for many years, and I was in good standing.
Wow.
They told me right before the winter time. So I was like, this is Cooperstown, New York. Like, I'm not going to get a roof, maybe in May, maybe. And then I just had run into other issues with the house, with plumbing and such that I had to repair. And I'm, finishing up my medical school loans in 2 months, $580,000 later. So things add up. And, I just said, can I get a 3-month extension? I assure you there's no damage to the roof. I've had someone go up and look at it. I mean, they must have driven by and taken a picture of the moss. And it's not the first time I've heard this happening, but they said they would not extend it. So I said, well, I have no choice. I have to look for another insurance company. I just don't want it to become an issue because there are the rules about how many trees you can cut down. And I have 4 humongous trees that are with branches over my roof. I mean, if it's a problem, I'll get shingles.
Chris,
it's just something I want to.
Is that something, I apologize for interrupting you.
No, you're
because
fine.
This may be a situation, given the small lot and the issues regarding the damage the trees are causing to the roof. When Vanessa does replace her roof, Chris is our interim zoning enforcement officer, and so I'm asking him this, but I know he may not have that historic perspective. I would guess that the tree committee might look at that hardship of the impact of the trees on the roof in terms of the
allowing me to do something.
Potentially.
Yeah, I would check, like I did last time with the tree committee.
Yeah.
Just for me to make sure it's okay. And
Yeah,
what I've
no,
found
not.
is in cases where things are wrong or dangerous.
Or
there's a problem.
causing deterioration like this,
Right.
where, so that could be something that the tree committee could review. If the metal roof and the asphalt roof are comparable, you said they're within about $1,000. The goal would really be for us to have it replaced in kind. It's a more traditional, it's more traditional material, and you do have a very visible and very unique house, actually.
Sure, it was neglected for a decade, so it's got a lot of potential.
It does.
I'm trying very much to maintain it.
I know there are some houses in the village where metal has been added. We've turned down many more applications than we have approved, if that makes you feel any better. I'm speaking for myself. I think, your house is significant visibly and unique in design, and its character is pretty well maintained. So I would really encourage, taking seriously going with the traditional shingles as opposed to a metal roof. I don't know if Dave or Pat has any.
Well, just one additional comment to make sure you're aware of the program New York State has for getting state income tax credit based on work that's done in the historic district law, which we are in.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's pretty sizable.
Yeah, it's pretty substantial, so it'll knock off, a meaningful amount of money off your state income tax.
Is that
So,
ahead of time? You have to.
Yeah, you have to apply.
but it's a really easy application,
Yeah,
and Otsego 2000 walks people through it.
Okay.
And so, if you don't have that contact information, I will give it to Chris. Do you have Otsego 2000's contact
Yes.
information for Ellen? If you could send it to Vanessa. It basically, if you do a small percentage of work on the outside of
And
your
you're
home,
doing-
like the roof,
And I'm gonna have
You
to paint
can-
it, but it's like 18 months out, and I would
Right,
keep
it's
that
okay.
in mind
It
and
can
all this
extend
stuff.
yeah,
for as
yeah,
long
you
as you
can
want,
carry
yeah.
forward.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could do a laundry list of the things, your 5, 10, 15-year plan, and add it all in, and you don't have to do all of them, but as long as a small percentage is your exterior work, it also would cover, that tax credit benefits any interior work you're planning as well. So any, in terms of the, you're trying to, example, any plumbing or electric, or restoring your hardwood floors, or things like that. There are a whole bunch of things that are covered. So it's worth spending an hour talking to Ellen at Otsego 2000, putting your list together. They turn it around really quickly at the state, within a few weeks. So, that is, the state would want, thank you for remembering that, Dave, they would want to see that replacement of the shingles with shingles to approve something like that. But in the long run, after you've done like a few years worth of work, you can put it all together in a package, and then you get your state income tax credit. So that's a nice little payoff for the work you've done then.
Okay.
So there is a bonus to being in a historic district. And thank you. Did I forget anything?
Well,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, but it's an easy application. Pat, did you have any questions? Okay. If you are willing to consider the shingles, I personally would motion to encourage you to stick with the like materials. I don't know if Pat or Dave has any other thing to say. Your house is very unique and has a lot of character, and I think in the long run, you'll, my brain is fried.
That's fine, I'm post 24, so mine is too, it's
And
okay.
maybe have better luck with the next
Yeah.
insurance company.
And
Let's hope
also, Marcia, I'm sure we'll put in the minutes that the Historic Preservation Board is encouraging the tree committee to consider allowing you to remove the trees that are causing the deterioration of your roof.
Okay.
So, even if it doesn't happen immediately, before that roof ages and starts to moss, we would encourage that.
Chris just showed me some metal shingles.
Oh, mm-hmm. And they might be more expensive. There have been people who've been used
Like the slabs that look like shingles
I
that
can
are
help with
metal.
that.
Yeah, just we actually have another application today for metal shingles.
Yeah, so I actually work for a company that does it, stone coated metal roofing, it looks just like shingles. So, it is more expensive, but it's.
Yeah, because of the profile.
Well, it's also maintenance free, so you don't have any exposed metal at all, like with a metal roof, unless it's standing seam, which is also higher in cost, corrugated, you have exposed fasteners. So those rubber grommets crack, and plus over time, your house shifts, so it is maintenance, it's not maintenance free. We're stone coated metal, everything, there's no exposed metal to it, to the elements and weather, so.
But it's
This is an
also-
option.
So is that fiberglass? Is that the one you're here for?
I'm here for the fiberglass, so we do fiberglass.
And metal.
And metal as well.
And we've also approved a recycled rubberized material as well. But that I think is also more expensive. So you can certainly go with the traditional asphalt. I'm sure this gentleman's gonna give you his card on your way out.
I know, I put that in the closet, I wish I could get it back.
In the meantime, you don't need a permit to replace in kind with asphalt.
Okay.
If the price is comparable, and it sounds like it's within 10%, give or take, I would highly encourage that. I know that we've been approached when people really couldn't afford to deal with, asphalt, but, if there isn't a huge difference, then please consider going with that.
Okay.
Okay, and look at the tax credit.
I will do that. Do I leave this?
That's
Because I didn't, I emailed it in.
Well,
and I
if
didn't.
she's going with replacement in kind,
Actually, if you're replacing in kind, you wouldn't need to apply if you end up doing the asphalt. If you're not changing materials.
so right now, it's kind of like, it's a wash, because if we haven't approved, if we've
If it's
encouraged
not
you to,
approved, then
right,
it's not.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
okay, all right, thank you,
So,
everybody.
thank you very much
All right.
for understanding.
Yep, no problem, thank you.
Okay, 42 Beaver Street.
Hello there.
Right there.
You can tell that this is an Antonino.
Antonino Santoro from Home Depot.
Nice to meet you.
Our project is to replace the majority of the windows in our house. Our house was built in 1956. It has the original windows, which were painted wood. They're single pane. We do have storm windows, which help, but they're very inefficient and drafty. And many of them are actually cracked with tape on them to keep the glass from kind of shedding. So what we'd like to do is replace the majority of the windows in the house with vinyl clad wood replacement windows, dual pane insulated. Currently our windows, and there's pictures in there, are just plain glass. We were hoping to add the colonial style slats for the upper windows facing the road, which is consistent with what our neighbors on the block have. Just to kind of improve the aesthetics, improve the energy efficiency and safety for our two toddlers.
So, you're talking about adding divided lights to the windows when you say, Clint, how many divided lights?
1 and 2.
1 over 2? Okay, so
1 and 2. So it'll look horizontal 1.
Mhm.
Vertical 2.
Okay, so each window will then be 4.
Top only.
Okay.
Top only.
The
We
top
have
only.
like 6 squares.
Okay.
6 lights.
6 lights, okay. And are those simulated divided lights?
Between the glass.
Okay.
So they're not so.
So we really frown on girls between the glass. Let me back up though. The material your windows are now, the windows you're replacing,
It's the original painted wood.
so they are painted wood, interior and exterior. And it's a vinyl clad wood. Is it paintable?
It is paintable, but it's already painted white.
Is it glossy or matte?
Matte.
Okay. And the replacement is of all of the windows, or just the ones with the numbers and not the ones on the, oh, I see the ones on the front too.
Yes.
So the 2 windows over the front door do not have numbers in front of them?
Those are also being replaced.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, all of the windows on the house, or there's,
There's the ones that are like built into the foundation are being replaced. And on the back, we've replaced the glass slider as part of our deck project last year.
okay. And there are 2 windows to the right and left of the slider. Are they don't have numbers in the images?
Those were previously replaced as part of previous projects, so they're not the original windows. Those, I think, were part of those are bathroom windows. I think they were part of the bathroom renovations previously.
Okay. And what are they made of?
Vinyl clad wood.
And no mullion removals, like for like, so the aesthetics stay the same.
Okay, no mullion removals on,
anything.
Okay, but you're talking about divided light windows, so the aesthetics aren't the same because these are 1 over 1. But otherwise, the dimensions are the same, they're
Totally fine.
Dave or Pat, do either of you have any questions?
I do. Why are you choosing the divided light?
Most of our block has that style of window, so I thought it would add some more character to our house.
However, most of your block probably is not the style of house that chooses, is it?
Our direct neighbor is, correct. The other house next to us is a ranch, and then Pioneer and Susquehanna are different.
Yeah, so one of the things we discourage people from doing is creating a false sense of historicism by and features that, you know, kind of change the kind of character of their home. So the windows with divided lights on your street are more likely older homes where windows would have had divided lights more likely. The era of your home, the 1/1 is more appropriate. And certainly, as I said, if we were to consider an application for divided lights, we would like to see dimensional divided lights on the exterior, not the grills between the glass. Because that is definitely not something we tend to approve. But we would really encourage you to replace in kind, which is 1/1. So, Pat?
Two things. One is, does the house contribute?
No, it's, what year was your house built?
1956.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that, geez.
It's been a long day.
No, it's not that I forgot it. It's that the houses in that period, especially in that style where you've got an overhang in the front of the house, seemed to me, in my recollection, to have always had 1/1s. It might be, in other words, your house doesn't currently contribute, but there will become a time when it may. In which case it might be worthwhile thinking about the historic accuracy of the windows, because at that point it's going to mean something to you. I'd be very reluctant to put divided light windows on that particular house.
I'm okay with that. I would be comfortable just replacing like for like without slats.
I mean, I just think over time you'll come to like the familiarity of that style.
Yeah. So I appreciate the perspective, and if we only had the house for 2 years, so I don't have that timeline of history, but I would be totally fine just asking for like replacements then without slides.
Yeah.
I think you'll like the results.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
Dave, do you have any questions?
Nothing else.
Okay. So with the vision in the application to remove divided lights and do 1/1 windows, otherwise, would somebody like to make a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion. Historic Preservation Architectural Review Board has made the following findings concerning the proposed application at 42 Beaver, and they would include 2, B, 3, B, C, and I'm assuming 5?
Yes.
Second?
No discussion, Liz votes yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for your patience, Daphne. Would you like to come and tell us about your project? And if you're welcome to bring your contractor back in. if you need to.
Selling roofs, guys. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I'm
How are
Ryan,
you?
nice to meet you.
Hi, Ryan. So we are replacing roof. With, the same materials, shingles, about the same color, like a light gray.
Yep. So right now they have it's a very light, almost whitish color that they have on the backside and on the top. So just looking to replace it. It's an old roof. It's about 24 years old. Just deteriorating. Time has kind of elapsed. Kind of what we were talking prior, there are trees, so you're starting to get that moss and algae growth. Reason why most insurance companies want that removed, because it holds the water. That water then seeps into the wood, and then you have more of a problem over years. So just kind of getting ahead of it. I actually brought pictures just so if you guys want to take a look, just to see the deterioration of it. And then obviously, it's limestone on a lot of these shingles, so the water just tends to sit in there and then back up, and then. But you can see it's getting to that point where it
So
just has to go.
asphalt shingles.
It's fiberglass. So asphalt is Corval, asphalt shingles is construction paper, felt papers. Ours is actual fiberglass.
No, but those are asphalt.
Those are asphalt, correct.
So do you have a sample of your
I
materials?
do in my car if you want me to run out and grab it.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah. I'll be
That
right
would be
back.
great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry. I'm not familiar with fiberglass shingles.
With what?
Fiberglass shingles. Okay. I haven't.
You do old time stuff.
Pardon me?
You do old time stuff.
Yeah. Give me a piece of cedar. I don't think we've had any applications for fiberglass.
I'm actually surprised to hear that.
This is the first time, this is the Erie Roofing Company. I don't know if you've seen their. This is the Erie.
Remember the Cedar Shake, the alternative to Cedar Shake?
Yeah.
Was that on Elm?
Over the back on the brick house?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What was that?
I thought that was rubberized.
Okay.
Yeah. Right?
I knew.
That was my first day. I don't remember. I remember Tim being
I don't
here.
remember thinking.
I remember Tim with the shingle saying.
Chris has had some very traumatic meetings. Knock on wood for a case of fiberglass.
We're not done yet.
Almost done.
Tim came in with the shingle, and it looks very much like Cedar Shake.
Right, I remember that it was
Right,
an
yeah.
alternative, some of the
But I
look,
think
but
that was a
not.
recycled rubber.
But yeah,
I
maybe
think
it
some
was.
kind of composite rubber.
What is the policy when, for instance, I have an American Tourist where the original roofing was Cedar Shake. It was covered, it just applied right over asphalt. So what is the correct?
Cedar freezer.
Here,
Yeah.
we haven't dictated take things off, and I think it really depends.
Figured I might as well make a pitch while I'm here too.
Doing a lot of business.
Yeah,
I'm
busy.
just not familiar with the product, so.
Yeah, that's fine, which is understandable. So it's a fiberglass shingle, color would be white on hers. Basically what happens on a regular asphalt shingle, any area, it's limestone that they use, which is very porous. So once it breaks down, it holds a lot of water. Where this is fiberglass, where it's really embedded, if you were to even feel it,
So this is not
Yeah.
shape. So,
Yep, so the rock that we actually use, Erie uses on there, it's ceramic rock that's crushed up, right? So because it's not as porous, you think ceramic like a coffee mug, or you can just whisker, like if you have coffee in it, and you pour out and it just doesn't stain. So then it's and then also it's a copper and zinc resin, right? Because copper doesn't hold bacteria, and then zinc, people put zinc strips that kill bacteria. So that's all it is, just a different type of granule that's not as porous and natural. And then the biggest difference too, I guess I brought this, just in case, I don't think this would affect it. So the company, because we're in 39 states, we have 62 locations, we don't use construction paper, felt paper. So you've maybe seen this. So this is an underlayment, it's called. It's a 6-ply underlayment, which means it consists of 6 different layers, self-sealing, self-bonded layers. That's actually the International Code of Conduct stamp. They test this in a hurricane simulator. It's rated up to winds up to 120 miles.
So it's a water
barrier.
moisture barrier.
Correct, so that's what's implemented instead of construction paper. So in the UV thermal barrier, you get quite a bit of savings depending on house and style.
Does it actually have an R value? I'm just fascinated by it.
An R value?
Yeah, when you said thermal.
Yeah, so it's a thermal barrier, which really it acts like hypothermia blanket, right? So we actually nail a thermal side. The reason for that is when you're in the wintertime, right, you want to hold that heat in, so that's what's meant to do.
That's why I wondered if it had some
Yep.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, typically a ranch you'll see more savings, probably about 20% a year on a bill, because you're not heating or cooling your house as much too, because it also expels the heat on the top side of the house, leaving the roof in better condition after. And then also we just revetting the roof. That's simple. If you've ever seen like a ridge vent, we just do high flow ridge vents, just like anyone. Open that up, spray it with boron for bugs, bacteria, not to get in the house. It's pretty cool. It really is. I've been there with the company like 4 years, so.
Are the shingles made in the United States, just out of curiosity?
They are. It's family-owned business out of Erie, Ohio. Yep. So we've been in Rochester as a legacy office. They've been in Rochester for 30 years. Albany for 15, and Syracuse is the newest branch where I came from 5 years now. So yep. They're the largest roofing company in residential in the United States. 450,000 roofs. Yeah. So do a lot of work.
Covering a lot of roofs.
A lot of roofs. Put 15,000 miles in my car.
Thank you for humoring me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was not familiar with fiberglass shingles, so.
Yeah, that's cool. And then actually, I know since you guys were talking with her, I just brought the system in this, so that's stone coated. So it looks 26 gauge steel, so it's a lot thicker. It's actually the strongest one on the market.
is that the size of the standard panel?
Yeah, no, so these are cut, they come in 6x6 panels, they bring an angle grinder, cut it to fit your house perfectly, and then basically you see your grooves up top, they basically align down there, and then just like vinyl siding, just locks it. Yep, no exposed metal.
So the brown looks more dimensional than the black, but those are basically the same things, just
Yeah,
covered
and-
in different.
Well, and the cool thing is that you.
What is that substrate?
Say that again?
What is the substrate?
Substrate?
The gray material in the back?
No, that's 26, it's steel, 26 gauge galvanized steel. Yep, so they press heat and they roll the granule, they bake it at 2600 degrees, which gets that's copper and zinc, it's the same thing that's on the fiberglass. And then they stamp it, so they can stamp it whatever you want, HD cottage, cedar shake, bulk barrel tile, whatever you want.
And is the underlayment used on those as well?
Absolutely, that's got a 50-year warranty by itself. So that goes through extreme testing down in Miami-Dade. That's warranted alone for 50 years. So.
Thank you. I'm sorry to I was more interested in the fiberglass, but it's an interesting system.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of testing that goes into it. I mean, because when you're in that so many areas, we're down south, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, both Carolinas. So you have a lot of, in Tennessee, actually it's pretty bad, Kansas. So they get a lot of tornadoes, hurricanes. So you need something that can hold the weather. Actually, they don't even let you use construction or felt paper down there anymore. So you're not supposed to. And even here, a lot of shingles are only rated, like you go to Home Depot, Lowe's, buy a shingle, they're only rated for like 40 mile per hour winds. It's crazy.
Good thing the guy from Home Depot.
Yeah, sorry guys. We're all learning about a lot of roofs today,
We'd
so
be having a
sorry.
throwdown here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like I said, I'm a roof nerd, so sorry.
so, and you're choosing gray because that's what's on your roof right now, right?
Yep. Matching everything, pretty easy.
Anybody? Any other questions?
I don't know if we have to mention, we might add a gutter on the side and front.
Yes.
Gutters are not, you know, they're part of maintenance, so we don't,
You don't do that.
yeah, and they're reversible.
Yeah.
So, it's gutters, storm doors, things like that, you know, you can do without a permit, so. But thank you.
Yeah, permit, we would just need, honestly, I haven't done probably a day, but we could call it 2 or 3 days for a permit. Dumpster would be there the day before. Whether or not we can put it on the street or just leave it, I think we talked about driveway, so
And
that
that's
wouldn't be an issue.
the street, I'm not sure about with the dumpster.
We can do driveway, that's fine,
Okay.
not an issue.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah, I think that's preferred if possible. If it is necessary to put it in the street, that's when it's important to check with Jackson and, you know, with some warning, or Jackson. Chris, sorry.
It's okay, I forget who I am too.
Hello.
What you guys said, it's been a long day.
It has been a
It's
long
been a
day.
really long, it's, you know, it's the longest
It's a
day. But we're going here. Okay, thank you for the explanation of fiberglass and, any other questions?
Practicing my pitch.
Can't remember who's,
I think I get to do the grand finale. Move that H Park provide a certificate of appropriateness for the project at 20 Delaware Street under the criteria 2A and 2C, 3C, 3D, and 5, given the
yep,
that line.
Second.
awesome. Liz votes yes?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much. Awesome.
Thanks for helping me work on my pitch.
Curiosity, what's the
Need a hand?
timeline, like?
Chris will start generating permits
Yeah. I
within the
generate
next
permits,
week.
And then I send them out, you should get them within 5 days, the actual document.
Okay.
So you can start
Yeah.
talking, moving on things. As of this moment, you're officially.
So the project could start tomorrow.
Yes, I can,
Okay.
yeah, well, I'll email you a copy
Gotcha.
too, so.
Yeah, do you want me to give you my email so you could too, so we have that? Or
Yeah,
do you
send it
have-
to me.
Or did, I know Andrea got an email from you, I believe, Chris, right?
I think so.
Yeah, there's
Just-
Andrea
Andrea
Adams.
Yeah.
Yep, so she handles all permits, so if you have her email, that would be.
I've got
that would
Andrea's,
actually- Perfect.
So you can basically start tomorrow.
We're ready to go.
And the paperwork will follow as soon as I can get it.
Thanks for coming.
Sounds good, absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for waiting.
Oh, no problem.
Thanks for
Have a good night.
Yeah.
You too. Thank
Do
you.
we have to discuss 50 Walnut, anything?
As I understood, he was going to return because there was a question about siding. He was going to be looking, last time we were here, or the time before, as I recall, he was going to be looking at the wood under the siding and figuring out what to do and coming back with a proposal.
So that's why
short
he's
of a
on the
proposal-
agenda.
Short of a proposal, I don't know.
Okay.
There's nothing really to vote on.
So there was nothing else he sent you?
He didn't submit anything.
Okay.
He was just-
Okay, so when he comes back with whatever he's discovered,
Right.
we can move that. Okay, I didn't see anything else, but I wanted to make sure
Right.
we
Good
didn't miss
question.
something.
Just called to propose something.
16 of them.
Pardon me?
16 of them.
Yeah.
But we only did 15, that's why.
That feels so much better.
Don't you? I'm going to wait to ask for the minutes to be approved until the next meeting. If people don't have a problem with that, I dropped the ball on reviewing the draft, so I would like to review the draft and then Pressure will send it out. And it's only gonna be a few weeks till we see each other again.
Yeah.
Hopefully Bernie will feel better. He's
Now
watching. Hi, Bernie.
that we got people smiling rather than hating.
Yes, I think the chair was
Pat,
definitely a
it's
good thing.
genius.
No, it just seemed
Yeah,
like.
more relaxed.
Yeah, well, people are more comfortable sitting than, standing and being.
The alternative was having us stand up.
And you gave them such nice comfort.
Yeah, they get good
Really,
chairs.
those, you gave them the good ones, and we sort of dragging that one over.
Well, and I mean, to see the change in attitude is phenomenal.
For the video at this point, or?
Sure.
I was trying to kill video.
We can motion to adjourn, and then we can keep chatting about chairs if you'd like. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Okay, at 6:49, Martha. I'll write it down, 6:49. You wrote it down. Okay, good.